Following the government's passage of the controversial regulations under Section 2 of the Public Safety Act, which proposed to, quote, prohibit persons and vessels without lawful authority from entering into Belize's portion of the Sarstoon River, unquote, for a full month, it seemed Will Maheia and his Belize Territorial volunteers would be subdued by force of law from entering the Sarstoon on an innocuous trip to Sarstoon Island, where persuasion had failed to work. As it turned out, law enforcement had to be placed on the dock in Barranco and throughout eastern Toledo district on that Saturday morning.
The situation at this point is that when we were getting to the dock, we were blocked from getting on the dock. When we were getting here, our boats was at the dock, but all of a sudden they moved off the dock. I couldn't see inside the boat. It looked like some military personnel boarded our civilian boat that was going to take us down.
We received information yesterday that the Coast Guard will be required to conduct safety and security operations somewhere between Punta Gorda and Barranco. We understand that the BTV had plans to depart Barranco in vessels. This is the Coast Guard responsibility to ensure that those vessels were seaworthy. We commenced operations this morning. So far we have detained 3 vessels, all for maritime safety offences. Those 3 vessels were detained and taken back to Punta Gorda.
Despite widespread condemnation and plans by the opposition to test the law on the ground and in court, it continued in force until the end of May, while the government tried and failed to get Guatemala to agree on a protocol for shared usage of the river. As News 5 showed in June, the Guatemalan Armed Forces had no hesitation in declaring that all of Proud Sarstoon was Guatemalan, not Belize.
This is water from Guatemala City. Welcome to the river, Guatemala. Over there is Guatemala City. Respect the protocolo. There's no protocolo. Yes. Respect the protocolo, señor. ¿Cuál es el protocolo? There's an agreement that we can compare. No, but there's an agreement that we can compare. Señor. ¿Cuál es el problema? There's no problem. El protocolo, hombre. Estudien, los que no lo aprenden, pregunten a sus autoridades. Las autoridades es nuestra historia. Lo que siempre voten, ¿no? En el caso a Maheia, vayan a Belize.
And that protocol would repeatedly be maintained by Guatemala over the course of the next several months. Defense Minister John Saldívar conceded in December that, subject to checking in with Belizean authorities, Guatemala exercised some control over Belizean affairs in the area.
Belizean civilians also have free access to the Sarstoon River. However, due to Guatemala's position with regards to sovereignty over the entire river, our civilians are asked to check in at the Belize Forward Operating Base located at the mouth and north of the river. Civilians may occasionally be questioned or followed by B.D.F patrols to ensure that they are not doing anything illegal or that B.D.F FOB is aware of their presence and activities in the area.
As for the Sarstoon Protocol, promised ever since the BTV's confrontation with Belizean armed services, it failed to materialize in the 6 months promised by Foreign Affairs Minister Wilfred Eldrington. But he says it's the Guatemalans' fault.
You appreciate that because of the difficult situation we had over the killing of the kid, we could not move as fast as we wanted to move on it, but it's something that we knew have to be dealt with in some time, because if there's one thing we know, it is that there's going to be incidents, if not accidents. And it is only common sense for us to have a protocol to deal with those difficult times. So that is basically what we're trying to arrive at. We have had some reversals, but we can't give up on the idea. But they have their own constraints.
So what has changed? Not much. Guatemala maintains de facto, if not legal, control of the river, and for all intents and purposes, has annexed it to their territory. Belize continues to navigate tricky currents in an effort to change that, as the feuding neighbors draw closer to what each hopes is a shared destiny, though with differing consequences. Aaron Humes reporting for News 5.